Hi, this is Megan Kemp. I'm going to be speaking today about concepts of gender-based violence. I just want to give a quick trigger warning. I am going to be speaking about sensitive topics such as violence and assault, so just be warned. Gender-based violence is a widespread issue. It is more common than we realize. The definition of gender-based violence is violence towards any individual on the basis of sex or gender identity, or perceived sex or perceived gender identity. The World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 3 women worldwide has experienced some form of gender-based violence, and this doesn't even include men, children, LGBTQ plus people, and it doesn't include all of the different types of violence. The different types of violence are not limited to, but include intimate partner violence, which is violence that takes place in a romantic or intimate setting. The second type is sexual assault. This includes rape, kissing, grabbing, any unwanted physical touching that is in a sexual manner. Assault is defined as unwelcome contact, and it can be gender-based, but it isn't always sexually based. For example, if a person were to grab your genitalia when you did not give consent, that would be sexual assault. But if a man grabs a woman's hair to keep her from walking away, that's assault that is gender-based, but may not be sexual. Sexual harassment is offensive behavior of a sexual nature, including verbal remarks. Harassment is offensive behavior toward an individual, including verbal remarks, but it can be gender-based without being sexual. For example, making crude remarks towards someone based on their gender, such as a man saying to a woman, "I'd like to hit that," or a man perceiving another man to be feminine and calling him a fairy. That is harassment, which is gender-based but not sexual. Exploitation can also be sexually based through trafficking, such as prostitution or child trafficking, mail order bride, or in some cases, exploitation is just considered that due to the state of the victim, which is being disabled or a minor, socioeconomically challenged, or it can be an abuse of power or authority. For example, we know that though Monica Lewinsky was an adult, it can be argued that the office of the president is a office of high power and authority, and it's not equal to the position of an intern, which Monica Lewinsky was at the time, because this was the capacity in which Bill Clinton engaged in sexual relations with her. It was a case of sexual exploitation. Stalking is lurking, following someone, unwanted, repetitive communication or contact. This may seem harmless, but it often causes the victim anxiety and fear. Jo from Netflix's You stalked Beck without her knowledge or consent. This gender-based violence ultimately led to her death at his hands. Psychological abuse is behavior that emotionally manipulates, subjugates, bullies in any way, or traumatizes an individual. And finally, the last type of gender-based violence on the list, murder. People who are affected by gender-based violence can be anyone. Anyone can be a victim of gender-based violence. The basis for this violence is their gender or sexual identity or their sex. Their sex can be how they present currently, how they presented at birth, how they're being perceived. Men can be targeted based on their gender, as can women, children, lesbians, gays, bisexuals, trans people, and queer people. But remember, the state of the person can have implications in how the victims are chosen as well. People who are considered less powerful, like children, people who don't have enough money or resources, such as homeless people, socially subjugated people like immigrants, undocumented immigrants, people of color, minorities, and women. And sometimes reporting gender-based violence can be more difficult for people in these groups. While men do not face rates as high as those listed above, societal norms can preclude them from reporting certain crimes. Gender-based violence is a bigger issue than we realize because it encompasses many different types of crimes and many different behaviors and actions. Anyone can be a victim of gender-based violence, yet only certain people can perpetrate this type of violence. Awareness and education are a small but sure step in preventing gender-based violence.